Hey, what's going on, guys? Coach Seth here. So today we are talking basketball scholarships. Basically, how to get recruited for college basketball. But if you're new here, my name is Seth Thomas and I'm a basketball and strength coach, helping you become a better athlete for basketball. So if you're interested in more videos just like this one, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single video. And real quick, if you're interested in getting in shape for basketball fast, I have a free 10-week conditioning program that I'll link up in the description. So make sure you go ahead and download that today. All right, let's go ahead and get into this video. So the main thing that getting recruited for basketball is going to come down to is exposure, getting noticed, right? Getting that attention. So that's the biggest thing we're going to talk about today is getting exposure. So a quick backstory for me, I actually did not play basketball in college. And I feel a big reason for that is because I did not get exposure. And I believe I have a good understanding of what to do to get exposure because these are the things I did not do. And I believe these things could have been the deciding factor of whether I go to college to play basketball or not. A big problem that I had in high school is my mindset was if I perform well enough on the court, I should be good enough to get recruited, right? I should be able to create enough attention for myself. Well, unfortunately, it doesn't always work that way. If you're not this crazy skilled person that's got all this hype surrounding you, you're more than likely gonna have to do other things outside of playing the game. And that's what we're gonna talk about today. There are two big reasons or two big things that you can do and focus on to get you exposure, get your foot in the door. So this first one is gonna be connection. So what do I mean by connections? It's basically who you know or who knows you and trusts you enough to tell someone else about how good you are. That someone else hopefully being a head coach or a scout or something like that. That's what I mean about connection. I look at it kind of like a job. If you know somebody that works in that job, sure, you're not gonna for sure get that job, but that really increases your chances to know someone that works there because they can put out a positive word for you and the heads are going to turn to you, and you obviously still have to qualify, but what I mean is that gets your foot in the door, that gets you started. So that is the importance of having connections. Well, I'm going to talk about a few things that's going to help the connections in your area and just get that word of mouth going, that positive feedback, that positive word of mouth going. So there's a few things that you can do. The first one is going to be AAU Basketball. So most of you probably know what this is, but if you don't know, it's basically just like a traveling team that people recruit for one team that goes and travels and plays tournaments and plays in leagues and things like that. You might already be doing this. It's very popular nowadays. This is huge. It's almost like you have to do this if you want to get that exposure. And I don't want you guys to tell me that you don't have the money for it, because that was my excuse. We didn't grow up with a lot of money whenever I was younger. We just didn't have the money. That's what it always come down to. But that's an excuse. I could have went out and made that money. I could have, I'm not going to talk about money too much, but I could have mowed grass for once a weekend and made like $20 a week and saved that money up to pay for something like AAU. It's just an excuse. If you want something bad enough, you have to sacrifice certain things in order to get that thing. So don't tell me you can't afford it, because you can. You have to be willing to sacrifice something in order to get what you really want. And if you really want to play college basketball, doing something like mowing somebody's yard once a weekend, that's at minimum. You could do that almost every night. Now, if you're like me, you had school Monday through Friday, basketball practice Monday through Friday, so maybe during the week is out of the question, but you have the weekend. My problem was I didn't want to go work. I wanted to play basketball or work on my game or something like that. It's not all about how skilled you are, because a lot of the times that's not going to get you the exposure that you need. Okay, so the next one is going to be exposure camps. So these usually run all throughout the summer. Most of the local colleges are going to have these type of camps. You may need to do a little bit of research, spend some time on it, spend some time and figure out where these camps are. I'm actually not 100% if they charge on these. I'm sure they do, but like I said, don't let that be your excuse, because that is what it is, an excuse. If you really want to make a difference, if you really want to go to the next level of basketball, this is what you have to do. Okay, so the next one's gonna be a little bit different. So nowadays, we have a lot of access to certain things, right? A lot of people are on social media. This one's a tricky one kind of, because I don't think you should just ram it down social media's throat, because if you just post on there like how good you are, or look at my skills and blah blah blah, that kind of sends a negative word out a little bit, because in my mind, most of the time it'll probably work, honestly, but in my mind, I think if somebody is telling people how good they are so often, like, how good are they really, right? If they have to tell people that. So just be careful about posting on social media, but I would structure it in a way to where you can show your game on social media, on Instagram, on Facebook, whatever. So nowadays, I would add social media to your strategy of getting exposure. So connections, if all else fails, all of the things I just mentioned fails, or something doesn't go right, or you just don't get on the team, or whatever it is. So you should be able to get a hold of coaches nowadays. Most of you, if you're like me, you don't really care what college it is. You just want to get a scholarship to play somewhere. So in that case, just look at all of your local colleges and go to their websites, figure out where the coach is, find his email, find his number, whatever. If it doesn't have it, just call the school and have them transfer you to the coach or whatever. You can talk to the coach if you work hard enough, okay? So now I don't know about like in the middle of the season or anything like that. Your states probably have some weird rules like that, but in the summer, I'm pretty sure you can just call the coach, talk to him. You're probably gonna have to step out of your comfort zone on this, but trust me, you will not be sorry. This speaks a lot. If you get a call from a coach, the coach is gonna be like, wow, this guy really wants to play for me, and that is a great sign. So try to get a hold of the coach. Even if these other 3 things work, do this anyways. This is gonna be huge. So the next one is going to be stand out in games. This one might seem obvious, but this is very necessary. Like if you are playing on an AAU team and you just kind of go through the motions and you just don't really do much, or you're just not skilled enough, you're not going to stand out enough. You're not going to be noticed enough. So that's the first one on stand out, is skill. So being skilled is obviously one of the bigger ones, as far as like if you're not skilled, coaches are not going to want you. It's that simple. I don't care how many connections you have or how many AAU teams you play on. If you're not skilled enough, coaches are not gonna want you. So this next one I've went over a little bit in previous videos. I believe it was one of my tryout videos, but this is part of standing out, and it's just knowing your strengths. Say I would be on I'm trying to get on a college team right now. I know what my strengths are. I know what I can bring to the table to that team, and so I use that and I show that. I would be like a spot-up shooter, basically a two-way player. So I would be a defender as well, and some awareness too. But my point is I know exactly what I can bring to teams. So knowing what skills you have and knowing what your strengths are is going to be big. Don't say I do a little bit of everything. No, that's not good enough. Like I said earlier, unless you are like this crazy skilled person, that's not going to work. And most of us aren't. So know what you can bring to the table. This next one's a little bit different, but I think it matters, and it's going to be your physical appearance. So I'm not saying you have to be this humongous guy, this 6'8", 260-pound guy or anything, but there's something about having this physical appearance that just turns heads. You know, it's just like, whoa, look at that guy. And like I said, it's not about being tall. Like you can be big and shredded and just completely look like an athlete at a normal height. Something about your physical appearance looking like a professional, right? Like say you look like you play in the NBA. That's going to turn some heads, okay? So don't disclose your physical appearance. It's kind of like skill. It's going to take some time to develop this as well, but it's going to be worth it. It's going to pay off. I was like 6'4", 6'5" whenever I was a senior, but I was pretty skinny. So I just didn't look professional. I looked immature. I just looked like an immature player that could kind of play a little bit, you know. I mean, if I would have been bigger, if I would have been more, now I'm not saying you need to be huge, like I said, but if I would have had that tone in my muscles and a little bit stand out, because of my height, that would have definitely turned heads. Like I kind of turned heads a little bit by my height, but having that muscle tone is going to be a differentiator, and it's going to make you stand out between you and the other players. Your physical appearance, don't disclose it. It is very important as well. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you got value out of this. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're interested in more videos just like this one, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single video. And I will see you guys next time.